There's a simple truth about life: it doesn't wait for us to be ready. The world will keep moving, challenges will keep coming, and not every day will be kind. But the question is not whether the world is hard, it's whether our minds are strong enough to face it. We often wish for things to get easier. We pray for less struggle, fewer problems, lighter loads. But here's the reality: the world doesn't bend to our comfort. It challenges us so that we can grow. The world's resistance is not our enemy, it's our gym, and mental toughness is the muscle we must train every day. Toughness isn't about pretending nothing hurts. It's about knowing what hurts and choosing to keep moving anyway. It's the quiet decision to rise again when comfort calls you back to bed. It's showing up when motivation fades because your commitment is louder than your excuses. Think about the people who truly inspire us. They're not the ones who had it easy, they're the ones who stood firm when everything was falling apart. Their strength wasn't built in comfort, it was forged in struggle. Every failure, every setback, every disappointment, those were their teachers. And this is where the power of purpose comes in. When you know your why, your how becomes stronger. Pressure doesn't break you, it focuses you. It reminds you that you're not here to escape the storm, but to learn how to navigate through it. The world will test you not because it wants to break you, but because it wants to see if you truly believe in what you're fighting for. When your mind is tough, circumstances don't define you, they refine you. So toughen your mind, read more, reflect more, face your fears instead of avoiding them, speak truth even when your voice shakes, discipline your emotions, because when your mind becomes strong, no failure can define you, no criticism can destroy you, and no obstacle can stop you. The world will not get softer, but you can get stronger, and when you do, you'll realize something powerful. It was never about surviving the world. It was about becoming the kind of person who can thrive in it. Mental toughness is often misunderstood as something people either have or don't have, a fixed trait, reserved for the chosen few who seem naturally resilient, fearless, or unbreakable. But in truth, mental toughness is not inherited, it is developed. It's not a gift, it's a practice. Every person has the potential to build a strong, disciplined, and adaptable mind through consistent effort, awareness, and experience. The mind is much like a muscle. It responds to challenge, resistance, and repetition. When you lift weights, your muscles grow stronger through the process of micro-tears and repair. The same principle applies to your mind. Every time you face discomfort, failure, or uncertainty and choose to persist instead of retreating, you create small micro-tears in your mental fabric. Over time, as you recover, reflect, and learn, those small tears repair themselves, making you mentally tougher than before. This means that adversity, rather than being a sign of weakness or punishment, becomes the training ground for strength. The people we admire for their resilience didn't start out stronger than everyone else. They simply made the choice to respond differently to difficulty. They learned to interpret pain not as a stop sign, but as a signal for growth. Mental toughness begins with that shift in perception, seeing every challenge not as something to fear, but as something to master. Building mental toughness requires intention. It is the daily discipline of facing discomfort willingly. This might mean waking up earlier than you want to, pursuing a goal that scares you, or holding yourself accountable when it would be easier to make excuses. The process is uncomfortable because it forces you to operate beyond the limits of your comfort zone. But the moment you train your mind to handle discomfort, you begin to separate yourself from those who are ruled by it. Mental toughness also involves emotional regulation, the ability to manage your thoughts and emotions rather than letting them control you. When you are mentally tough, you don't allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent decisions. Instead of reacting impulsively to stress or criticism, you respond with clarity and composure. You understand that emotional storms are temporary and that patience often wins where panic fails. This calm under pressure doesn't come naturally. It's cultivated through consistent self-awareness and reflection. A mentally tough person also embraces delayed gratification. They understand that meaningful rewards rarely come instantly. In a world that glorifies speed, convenience, and immediate success, This mindset is rare but vital. It takes strength to stay committed to a process when results aren't visible. Mental toughness is what allows you to keep showing up to write another page, practice another hour, or take another small step, even when no one is watching and progress feels invisible. Mental toughness is built on the foundation of self-belief. This is not blind confidence or arrogance. It's the deep conviction that you can figure things out, no matter how complex they seem. It's the understanding that while you may not control everything that happens, you always control your response. This belief doesn't appear overnight. It's formed through small victories, consistent effort, and reflection on past resilience. Every challenge you overcome reinforces your belief that you are capable, and that belief becomes your armor in the face of future struggles. An important part of developing mental toughness is learning to detach your self-worth from outcomes. Failure is not a reflection of your value, it's feedback for improvement. People who lack mental resilience often internalize failure as a personal flaw, which leads to fear, avoidance, and stagnation. Those who are mentally tough, however, treat failure as information, a teacher that exposes weaknesses and invites growth. They do not see loss as the opposite of success, but as part of the process that leads to it. Equally important is the role of consistency. Mental toughness is not something that appears during crises. It's something that's built in the ordinary moments of life. Every decision you make to stay disciplined, to resist distraction, to confront fear strengthens your mental foundation. Over time, this consistency creates stability, and stability fuels confidence. When challenges arise, a mentally tough person doesn't crumble because their strength was built long before the test arrived. Mental toughness thrives on purpose. Without a meaningful reason behind your actions, it's easy to give up when things get hard. Purpose gives pain direction. It transforms struggle into significance. When you have a clear why, endurance becomes easier because you understand what you're fighting for. A tough mind is not one that avoids pain, it's one that gives pain a reason to exist. Mental toughness is not a mysterious quality possessed by a few extraordinary individuals. It's a learnable, trainable skill forged in the fire of everyday challenges, fueled by purpose, and strengthened through consistent practice. Anyone can build it, but only those who are willing to embrace discomfort and discipline will master it. Purpose is the anchor that steadies the mind when life becomes turbulent. It gives direction to our actions and meaning to our struggles. Without purpose, challenges feel heavier, obstacles seem unfair, and effort appears wasted. But when you have a clear reason for what you do, pressure transforms from a burden into a form of guidance. It no longer suffocates you, it sharpens you. It becomes the force that strengthens your resolve rather than the one that breaks your spirit. Pressure is a constant in life, whether it comes from expectations, responsibilities, competition, or self-doubt. It surrounds us in every phase of growth. However, the impact of pressure depends entirely on our internal framework, how we interpret it. People who lack a defined purpose see pressure as chaos, something to escape or avoid, but those driven by purpose perceive it as feedback, a sign that they are operating in a space that matters. Pressure to them is proof that they are stretching towards something meaningful. Purpose acts as a mental filter. It helps us prioritize what truly deserves our attention and energy. In a world overflowing with distractions, noise, and constant comparison, the mind easily gets overwhelmed by unnecessary stress. When you know your why, you stop chasing every what. You learn to say no to what doesn't align with your goals. This mental clarity doesn't remove pressure, but it focuses it. You begin to understand that not all pressure is destructive, only misplaced pressure is. The pressure that aligns with your purpose becomes the fuel for progress. Having purpose also changes how we respond to failure. When people tie their self-worth to external outcomes, grades, promotions, recognition, failure feels like identity loss. But when actions are rooted in a deeper mission, setbacks lose their power to define you. You see them as steps on the path rather than signs to turn back. Purpose reframes failure as a teacher, not a punishment. It gives you the strength to endure rejection, criticism, and delay, because you know that the journey matters more than any single result. Purpose cultivates patience. When you have a meaningful reason behind your work, you are willing to wait for results. You stop rushing the process because you understand that growth has its own timeline. This patience doesn't come from laziness. It comes from faith in your vision. The pressure of time, which often paralyzes people, becomes a motivator to stay consistent instead of a reason to quit. Purpose allows you to appreciate progress over perfection and effort over immediate success. Another aspect of purpose is that it provides emotional stability. Under pressure, emotions tend to fluctuate, anxiety rises, confidence drops, and focus scatters. Purpose acts as an internal compass that recenters you. When you remind yourself why you started, fear loses its grip. It becomes easier to separate temporary discomfort from long-term goals. You start to understand that emotions are signals, not dictators. You listen to them, but don't obey them blindly. That control of emotion under stress is a key indicator of true mental toughness. Purpose-driven individuals are also more resilient because they attach meaning to their suffering. Pain without meaning feels unbearable, but pain with meaning becomes transformative. When you are driven by something larger than yourself, whether it's your family, your mission, your passion, or your values, you find strength in the struggle. Every difficulty becomes evidence of your dedication. The greater the purpose, the more endurance it generates. This is why athletes train through exhaustion, why entrepreneurs keep building after failures, and why educators keep teaching despite setbacks. Their purpose gives their pressure meaning. Purpose creates alignment between effort and identity. When what you do reflects who you are and what you believe in, pressure becomes less intimidating. You no longer feel like you are performing for approval. You are expressing authenticity. This alignment produces confidence that cannot be easily shaken. You no longer chase validation because your purpose already validates you. Pressure that once felt external now feels internal, a healthy drive to live up to your own standards, not someone else's. Purpose also fosters clarity in decision-making. Under pressure, confusion can cloud judgment, but when you have a clear purpose, decisions become simpler, not easier, but clearer. You ask yourself, does this move me closer to my purpose or further away from it? That single question can eliminate countless distractions and doubts. This clarity saves emotional energy and keeps the mind steady even in chaotic circumstances. Purpose strengthens relationships. People with a sense of mission attract others who share similar values. This creates a support network that makes pressure more manageable. Shared purpose builds trust, teamwork, and mutual accountability. Instead of feeling isolated under stress, you feel supported. The collective purpose becomes a shield that distributes the weight of pressure among many shoulders. Purpose transforms performance. When actions are motivated by genuine meaning, effort becomes more focused and sustainable. You stop chasing outcomes purely for external recognition and start working for internal fulfillment. This intrinsic motivation is far more powerful and enduring than any external reward. Pressure, then, becomes a partner in growth, the necessary tension that helps you evolve into the best version of yourself. Purpose is not about removing pressure, it's about redefining it. Pressure tests your conviction, but purpose strengthens it. When you align your actions with a meaningful reason, you stop seeing challenges as threats and start viewing them as opportunities to prove your commitment. Pressure will always exist, but purpose gives it direction, turning stress into strength, chaos into clarity, and struggle into significance.